Earlier this month, following a police complaint about some unauthorized Nifty option trades in a client account, National Clearing Ltd, which is the clearing corporation of the National Stock Exchange, froze payouts worth about 78 crores. Now, this payout freeze affected hundreds of brokers. The immediate issue is rather operational. It will get solved. It has probably already been solved. But the deeper institutional question remains, which is, can trades executed on an Indian stock exchange be guaranteed settlement for sure? In my finance and governance column in ThePrint this week, I teamed up with Ajay Shah and we argued that this incident was not about one broker, one clearing member, or one police complaint. It goes to the heart of what a stock exchange does, and market settlement finality is really the foundation of what a stock exchange does, and market participants can tolerate volatility much more than they can tolerate uncertainty on whether their trades will be settled on time and accurately. First, let's start with the basics. Settlement finality is the foundation of what a stock exchange really does. What does this mean? It means that when trades are executed on a stock exchange, the clearing corporation steps in as the central counterparty and guarantees both sides of the trade. This is done through something known as contract novation. So how does this really work? So when a buyer enters a trade on the stock exchange platform and the trade goes through, the buyer need not know anything about the solvency or the conduct of the seller, and the seller need not know anything about the solvency or the conduct of the buyer. This is what enables anonymous trading on a stock exchange, because there is a guarantee that the settlement corporation will make sure that the trades will go through. This is known as central counterparty clearing and settlement, and it is the very foundation of how modern stock exchanges work. It enables anonymous trading at scale and has enormous benefits from a capital raising and cost of capital perspective. A trader buying Nifty options does not know who sits on the other side of the trade, and nor should he need to know. Confidence in trading on a stock exchange fundamentally depends on the confidence that the settlement and clearing framework will survive all individual disputes that may arise in an otherwise personalized trading system. The Indian securities markets reforms of the 1990s and 2000s were designed to precisely achieve this institutional framework for settlement and clearing for Indian stock exchanges. In the old days, under the Badla trading system at the Bombay Stock Exchange, settlement obligations were often deferred over days for a small fee paid to the exchange. This meant that counterparty risk built up in the system and settlement failures were rather common during times of stress. Coming to the present times, a series of recent settlement failures in the Indian securities markets warrants cause for concern. In addition to the incident that I just described in the beginning of this video, in 2019, Allied Financial Services, a broker, was accused of having stolen their clients' mutual fund units and offered them as collateral for a Nifty position. And finally, when the trade went through, those units were found to have been attached by the Economic Offences Wing. ILNFS Securities, which was the clearing member for Allied Financial Services, asked the exchange to annul the trade on the basis that the collateral that they received in good faith was in fact attached by the Economic Offences Wing. In 2017, in HDFC Bank Limited, the foreign portfolio investment limit was breached during day trading hours, and the Reserve Bank of India directed that all the trades that happened after the limit was breached, could not be settled. Now, this particular issue exposed a fundamental tension between capital controls and achieving settlement in a high-speed anonymous trading exchange system. In addition to these incidents, there has been a spate of technical failures in the market infrastructure in recent times, which have either halted trading for several hours or delayed settlement by more than a few days. All these incidents put together underscore the same fundamental point, that modern trading systems depend on the confidence of the market participants in clearing and settlement frameworks. And if these clearing and settlement frameworks start working with snags or unpredictability, this will ultimately impact the confidence that people have in the Indian securities markets infrastructure. The recent NSE episode is particularly troubling because it was triggered not by a regulatory intervention, not by a judicial order, but by a mere police complaint. Now, as everybody knows, a police complaint involves neither judicial determination, no scrutiny of evidence, nor does it require any finding of misconduct. This raises three particular concerns about the way settlements can be guaranteed, about whether or not settlements can be guaranteed for trades that go through on Indian exchanges. First, it introduces legal uncertainty. The market participants no longer can be assured that their trades will definitely be settled without any exposed exogenous shocks such as police complaints. Second, the contingent can spread rather quickly, especially in derivatives markets such as Nifty options, where this particular incident happened, as in such markets, the positions are rather interconnected. There is rapid turnover of trades, and leverage is very much present in the system. So interventions targeted at one particular trade or one particular market participant can affect hundreds of other participants who have got nothing to do with the underlying complaint. The third and perhaps the most important problem from such interventions is the possibility of state overreach. As everybody knows, enforcement in India is spread across multiple authorities, beginning from state police authorities to investigative wings such as the CBI, economic offences wing, and regulators. If at the instance of any of these authorities, trades can be annulled, settlement can be delayed, this exposes the settlement framework to ad hoc and politically motivated interventions as well. In most legal systems, extraordinary interference with executed trades requires a correspondingly high institutional threshold. Currently, that threshold is absolutely being undermined, and this casual attitude is not limited to these one-off instances of settlement failures. It is writ large, even in the legislative reforms that are being undertaken. So take, for example, the Securities Markets Code Bill. The Securities Markets Code Bill, which was tabled in the Parliament in the beginning of this year, empowers SEBI to annul trades, declare trades that are void, vary the rights of market participants arising from securities markets transactions, all without any due process. First, as I argued earlier this year in ThePrint, this power fundamentally undermines the confidence that market participants can place in India's settlement frameworks. A final point is the trade-off between speed and predictability in settlement. Now, India understandably prides itself in moving its market infrastructure to a T+1 settlement cycle, which means that the trade will be settled within 24 hours of the clearing happening, right? This is even as advanced countries continue to be on a largely T+2 settlement framework. Now, a shorter settlement cycle definitely reduces counterparty risks and also increases the efficiency of capital. However, if this shorter settlement cycle comes at the risk of unpredictability, market participants may well prefer a longer settlement cycle that is way more predictable than a cycle that is at T+1 but is vulnerable to ad hoc interventions such as stray enforcement actions and police complaints and the like. India's policymakers and thinkers have spent decades trying to reform the market infrastructure to move India from a personal relationship-based trading system to an impersonal, at-scale, large trading system. This has been possible through reforms such as dematerialization of securities, rolling settlement, central counterparty clearing, sophisticated margining systems, and compressed settlement cycles. Now, once we start making these reforms and these structures vulnerable to exogenous interventions such as enforcement actions, the confidence in all of these in this newly set up market, in this rather relatively speaking newly set up market infrastructure will erode, and the costs will not be limited to one participant or one exchange or one central counterpart or one clearing member. The costs will spread in the form of reduced credibility of India's market infrastructure, and that is a place that we do not want to be at again. Thank you.